So, I think it's safe to say that I like video games. I play all kinds of games, from MMO, grand strategy, shooter, survival, more. But I've never played a game that I would consider a phenomenal experience. Most of my top games right now are just games that are charming, fun with friends, great time wasters, simply all around good. But I haven't played a game that I've grown invested to or would consider a masterpiece. In other words, I haven't found a game I consider special since Pokemon Diamond, and that's basically more or less solely because of childhood nostalgia. Generally, I don't tend to become invested in media. Most of anything I've ever felt watching a piece of media was when I watched Coraline when I was like 7, and was hiding under the table the whole time. I've never cried at a film, screamed at some scary scene, never cheered at some hero's triumph, or had my jaw drop at some twist. I've never really felt emotion, connection, or really intrigue when watching films or playing games. I usually just sit there and wait for the action, comedy, or grind away at whatever menial task I've been assigned to in a video game. And that's the way it's just been forever. That is, until 3 months ago. One day, near Christmas, my uncle gave me 25 Canadian shekels to spend on Steam, and when browsing the homepage, I was looking for something to waste my money on. Now, it's worth noting at the time I was very bored with the games I had on hand. I was tired of getting mauled by the Americans in War Thunder. I was bored of mining redstone in Minecraft. And I was sick of getting steamrolled by the Germans in Hearts of Iron 4. So I was looking for something new, something different from the FPS, grand strategy, and survival games that I played all the time. So there I was, browsing the homepage, when a small subsection caught my eye. Platformers. On this short list of games, there was the ones you'd expect to see, like Hollow Knight and Dead Cells, some other obscure ones that I don't really remember that well. But at the very end of that list was one that surprised me. Ori and the Blind Forest.
Or it was actually a sequel, but let's not worry about that.
Now, I had seen this game before. Back when I used to play on the Xbox, I had seen it in the Xbox Store's front page, and me, being the dumb 8-year-old I was, passed it off with a mere, that looks cool. Then I went back to playing GTA 5 or Battlefield 1 or whatever I was playing at the time. But the game that I had passed off had come back, and my combination of being bored of literally everything and the game's cool-looking design, I bought it, and heard the iconic theme for the first time. For those who are unaware, Ori and the Blind Forest is a Metroidvania platformer developed by Moon Studios and published by Microsoft in 2015 for Xbox and PC, with a Switch version released in 2019. The game centers around a spirit named Ori and their quest to heal the Forest of Decay, and that's the basics. But there's a fair bit more to it than that, which I'm not going to tell you for spoiler reasons, since I know some people who haven't played the game are here watching this video.
Yeah, Walker, I'm looking at you.
There will be 6 subsections in this video. The story, the gameplay, music and sound, graphical design, the problems I had, and overall thoughts. And with that, let's start with the story. Now, I haven't played many story games, so maybe I just have very low expectations, but I really did enjoy this game's story. It feels a bit more on the simple side of plots, but I find that simplicity almost gives it like an indie aspect, where it feels a lot more like it came from some small studio with a ton of people who put lots of effort into their work. rather than, some giant corporate product with little to no heart in it. I also enjoyed the story's themes of family and loss. They're integral to the story, and they give some of those feels that people really like to experience. I still have yet to cry at a video game, but this game's emotional moments had me very well near the brink. The opening cutscene alone had me invested in the game before I had even pressed a single button, and if you want proof, look at my Steam activity. And I'm pretty sure that's the reaction that most people who played this game for the first time had, and I feel that's the hallmark of a pretty good story. The story is probably the part I'm least qualified to give my opinion on, because as I mentioned before, I haven't played many story games, but I had a tremendously good time playing through this, what I consider charming and delightful story. But what about the game itself, you're probably wondering? Well, calm down, I'll tell you. I am really glad I found this game when I did, because when you're bored of all the shooters, strategy games, and whatever else I was playing at the time, a nice challenging platformer is just the thing you need to have some good fun. And a nice challenging platformer just so happens to be what Ori and the Blind Forest is. This game, in my opinion, has some of the funnest platforming I have played to date.
Granted, the only other platformers I have played is Mario 3D Land and half an hour of Hollow Knight.
The gameplay draws your focus and really fosters this sense of immersion. Your focus is all in the game, figuring out the puzzles, navigating the obstacles, finding the secrets, and making your way around the map. Something that's still pretty fun to do, might I add. It's pretty fun to revisit areas that you've already cleared with new abilities, just to see how fast you can make it through something that took you an hour and a half to do before. I also like how the game has a sense of exploration as well. The game will have collectibles just out of your reach, and require you to come back with new abilities in order to get them. It really encourages you to take in the world that has been laid out in front of you, and just try and get you to explore as much as you can to find all the little goodies that have been scattered about the map. And just while I'm here, those abilities that I just mentioned are pretty cool. They're all fairly simple initially, they don't take a lot of brain power just to get the gist of, but if you really want to get good with them, well, that'll take a second. It brings some extra challenge to a game that's already pretty rich in challenge. Of course, challenge isn't for everyone, because this game certainly has its moments where it feels almost impossible. Most notably, the Ginso tree. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go play the game, then come back to me. And if you have, you'll understand what I mean when I say this part sucks. Not for any gameplay reason, it's just hard. Still fun, but very hard. But in spite of it being difficult, I wasn't actually angry at all. I didn't feel like throwing my controller through the wall. In fact, I was actually pretty determined to try and make my way out. It really shows you, the good sense of progression that this game has for these zones, where every single time you die, you feel like you're getting ever closer to crawling your way out of the hellhole that is that goddamn tree. If it's any consultation, at least it gives you a good idea for what happens later on, so you'll be somewhat ready. Oh, and one more thing. I really did like how unique this game's saving system was. The Soul Link system was pretty innovative because it kind of had you working with the resources you had. It teaches you to manage your energy, because if you save too much, you'll run out of energy, which means you won't be able to blast open certain things, or open certain doors, or save again. On the other hand, if you save too little and die, you get sent back to your last soul link, which, if you're anything like me, means you have to do an entire section all over again. Which sucks, but it's your fault for not saving, so you can't really stay mad at the game. I don't know, man, there's just something so fun about the platforming in this game. I feel it's probably helped by other factors that I'll get to later, but even on its own, it's a blast to be had. Speaking of those other factors, oh boy, this is one of the things that this game absolutely got right. This has quickly become my favorite soundtrack of any game by far. It's so good, in fact, that I actively try to avoid listening to it out of fear of overexposure. The soundtrack is so coherent, you can visualize the story and the map just by listening to the music alone. And every song just fits each area so incredibly well. They're all distinct and fit the mood of each area. First Steps into the Sunken Glades is a slower and more sad sounding song because, you know, everything is dying. Riding the Wind has a flute perpetually blasting in the foreground because, you know, it's a wind instrument. Home of the Gumon sounds like if Santa gave you coal for Christmas. Mount Horu is menacing. The Misty Woods is mysterious. The Waters Cleansed is happy, and so on and so on. Each song perfectly punctuates the area and livens up an already blossoming world. And I think a good example of this is Up the Spirit Cavern Walls. Because when this song plays for its first time, you would have just found Sane, and things would be starting to look up. The shift between this and the Sunken Glades feels like you have just been filled with determination and hope. And I'm 100% aware that that sounds cheesy as all hell, but playing through the area for the first time, it really did feel like that. This song also really fits the zone in which it plays. The area it plays has you going up through a cave to get to the spirit tree, and the song just perfectly punctuates that climb. That may just be me, but to me, it fits really well. The music is so crucial to the game. I tried playing the game without music, and it was so uncanny and off-putting that it haunted my dreams for the next 2 days. Plus, not that this means much, but the songs are just great. Restoring the light and facing the dark slaps, and I will fight anyone who says otherwise. But wait, I'm not done yet, because there's still sound design to talk about. And in case you haven't noticed the running theme here, it's pretty good. I'm not sure what to say, honestly. It's just really good sound design. It brings a ton of life and energy to a game and really livens things up. Finding a secret, or finding a collectible, feels rewarding. Leveling up alerts all of China to your location. Using Charge Blast, Charge Jump, or Stomp feels very powerful. Hell, even just picking up some spirit light on the ground fills you with a sense of accomplishment. Every sound emphasizes the effort, power, pain, and emotion of the characters and of the land. Yeah, not sure what to say. Speaking of not knowing what to say, if there is one thing you should have picked up from the footage I've been playing in the background, it's that this game looks incredible. I mean, I honestly have no idea what to tell you. This game is simply gorgeous. 7 years later and it still looks like it just came out. Every area is an actual work of art. The effects make everything dazzle and the animations are as smooth as ice. Ori is now one of my favorite character designs, and I can't look at trees anymore without thinking of the big one from this game. It's always just wonderful to wander around the map and look for little details in the background that you didn't notice before. For example, I found what appears to be a Triforce from The Legend of Zelda, this cute mural of 2 spirits. Heck, you can even find the roots of the spirit tree in this little area right underneath of it. It really goes to show the attention to detail and the effort that was put into the artwork. Nothing looks the exact same outside of interactables and obstacles, and even then, those still have variations depending on where you are. Also, animation. You know how earlier I was saying that the platforming was helped by other factors? Well, this is the big one. Well, in practice, you're simply running and jumping. The way Ori moves brings so much life. While it looks like you're the most incredible gymnast in the entire forest of Nibel, doing flips, spins, and everything in between, in reality you really are just running and jumping. But the animation just makes it so much more fun to watch. The color schemes and the lighting also help to tell the story. You know how I was talking about the shift between the sunken glades and the spirit cavern back in the music section? Well, that same shift is evident in the artwork. The sunken glades are darker, with a generalized tinge of purple in the background. As this is at the game's start, you are unfamiliar with the map, and I feel the colors help to show how, quote-unquote, unknown everything is. How you feel lost in the woods, so to speak. But after you find Sane, you have a guide. Something to provide direction and safety. And in the Spirit Cave, things brighten up as a result. The map turns a bright sunlit yellow, with god rays blanketed in the backgrounds. It shows how things are starting to get better, how you are now on track to saving the forest. I spent a lot of time thinking about my thoughts on the artwork, and there really is no other way to put it than simply outstanding. But do you want to see something that isn't? However incredible this game is, and believe me, it's incredible, unfortunately, nothing in life is perfect. And I think there is one giant, glaring flaw that holds this game back from complete greatness. And that's the combat. And that is for one reason. It is garbage. I didn't notice it on my first playthrough, but after I finished the game and had time to collect my thoughts, I took notice of how lackluster the combat mechanics were. You effectively just stand within the vicinity of an enemy and then click your mouse as fast as humanly possible. And these poor combat mechanics are even more annoying because it's genuinely one of the only things holding this game back. I mean, there's a few little bugs here and there, but yeah, no, it's really the combat that sinks it for me. There are like 3 different spots that you have to go through and you have to fight this same enemy, i.e. this weird worm thing, and it really shows the lacking combat. Hearts of Iron 4 battles have more energy than these things. I will give combat this, however. Once you unlock the Bash ability, it does allow you to try out some new moves, such as deflecting projectiles back at your enemy or blasting right past them. But still, the combat could have been so much better. Putting all that aside, needless to say, if I had to boil this game down to a single sentence, that sentence would be a glorious masterpiece. I played this game like 3 times for this video and I loved every second of it. If that says nothing, I don't know what does. There is almost nothing about this game that I don't like, and it really reignited a love of gaming that had been dying down from not having anything new to play. It ushered in an entire new genre of games to look forward to. Ori and the Blind Forest has undeniably taken the crown as my favorite game of all time. And it really does suck that not a lot of people seem to talk about this game anymore. Despite high praise from gamers and critics alike, this game seems to have just fallen into obscurity and become overshadowed by newer Metroidvania titles such as Hollow Knight. And I have a theory to why that is. And that theory is that Ori fell into obscurity because of when it came out. Because 2015 was a very good year for games. You had stuff like Witcher Wild Hunt, Metal Gear Solid 5, Shovel Knight, GTA 5, and I think most notably, Undertale. And Undertale in particular is why I think this game has grown overshadowed. Because it took the internet by storm when it came out, leaving not many people who decided to make anything covering Ori. Only one big YouTuber that most people would know has made a video on Ori, and that's Jacksepticeye. And that's really sad. Even at my school, I've only heard 2 people say that they know what this game is. That's also kinda one of the reasons I wanted to make this video, to show people who stumble across this video what a masterpiece this game is, and try to convince them to play it for themselves. Hopefully, this video has piqued your interest, because trust me when I say, Best $7 I have ever spent. Please, do tell me what you think of the game. I'm curious to see what other people's opinions on Ori and the Blind Forest are. I mean, say what you will, but if you say this game is explicitly bad, well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Oh yeah, one more thing. There's still something I have to get off of my chest.